This is Beastie. I'm out stalking Stevie Hard or Clinton. Leave a message, bye!
Oh, for goodness sake.
Celebrate good times with fun.
But I'm not here at the moment.
Leave a message for that fun.
'Cause I'm not here at the moment.
This is ridiculous.
I've got sausage jams, I've got sausage jams. Leave a message, I've got sausage jams. Yo!
Where on earth are all my podcasting jokes?
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Mike Cummings, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Rexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there, they would have trouble saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very well welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. My name's Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line today we have no one. I'm all on my Todd. So we're going to have a little bit of a different show today, chaps and chapettes, and we're going to try something that we've not tried before, and we're going to open the Skype lines to anybody that would like to phone in. We've sent a bit of a tweet out to let people know that we're here, and we shall await your calls. So let's open those lines, Jeeves, and let's see who's there. Oh, there's somebody on the line, Jeeves. Hello, who are you away from?
It's Lee, and I'm from Renishaw, Sheffield.
Is that a friend of the show, Lee Brown, that's been on before, old boy?
It is indeed.
How the devil are you, old chap?
Yeah, not bad. At a loose end, so I thought I'd give a quick call.
Oh, that fills me full of confidence, old boy. Thank you very much. So then, Lee, a bit of a torrid time for us at the moment. What's your thoughts on the last game?
Yeah, well, it's not good, is it? Where basically, if you take it from the point of where the sending off happened, in a way, we lost 1-0 to 10 men, if you think about it that way. But I'm not one of these sort of doom and gloom merchants. My glass is half full, and I just think it's 4 unbeaten.
Well, that's one way to look at it, old chap. I mean, obviously, you're a chap like me over there on Twitter. You know what the fans are saying over there, and
Yeah.
we've got a lot of Dave out calls starting to pop along.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it might not be a popular opinion, but I don't think it's entirely his fault. If the board and Mr. Mandrich aren't giving him the funds to go out there and get some players, I mean, even loan players or even freebies, you still have to pay the wages. If we're up at the wage budget, what the board set, there's nothing he can do. His hands are tied. So,
well, I understand exactly what you're saying, old boy, but some would say, I mean, playing devil's advocate, or law's advocate, should I say, that maybe what he's brought in at the moment maybe not be what we're needing.
Yeah, well, Ati Nuhiu is not been as great as what people expected. He's done better than Rodri, because he scored 2.
Absolutely.
And 2 in 7's not bad, but it just doesn't fill me with confidence, really. And like Beastie said before, he is like 6'6" and jumps to about 4 foot. It doesn't seem to get up there. But then again, he's not getting the service. To get more crosses in. I mean, at the weekend, Saturday, Liam Palmer put in a brilliant cross. We just need some more of them in and get the big lad to stick his noggin on him.
So if Mr. Mandrick came to you tomorrow and said, Mr. Brown, we need a superstar manager to come and fill this place, what would you do straight away? What would be your first job as manager of the Wednesday?
But
you're on the spot a bit there, Robert. I apologise.
Yeah. If he come to me and said, right, you can take the job and I will also increase the wage budget, then I'd say Leroy Lita. and a creative midfielder. Because I know we've just signed Stephen McPhail on 6 months, but he's been out of the game for a couple of years with some sort of serious illness, and how we need someone to hit the ground running, not someone who's going to take a few weeks to get up to match fitness. So if he said you've got some budget, then I'd get Leroy Lita and creative midfielder.
Absolutely. So, looking forward, I say the glass is. So I'll put my teeth back in, old boy. The glass is half full at your end. So,
Yep.
obviously we've got the Birmingham match coming up tomorrow. Are you optimistic?
Yeah, I am. Well, DJ said himself that they've sort of got the home jitters where their players are a bit frightened of the home crowd. So, like he said, we could take advantage of that. Apparently, Stephen McPhail and Roger Johnson are straight in the squad. Not necessarily in the starting 11, but
Absolutely.
in the squad. So, they might have a point to prove. So, and Birmingham are, well, they're worse than us at the moment, aren't they?
Take some doing, old boy.
Yeah. So, I fancy us winning. And I fancy the song "How Bleep Must You Be" we're winning away chant going round the Wednesday contingent.
Absolutely, Albert. Well, Lee, thank you so much for popping on to speak to us this evening, and he'll speak to you again very soon.
Yep,
Lee,
cheers.
if people want to get hold of you on Twitter, old boy, where can we find you?
Can find me at Lee SWFC Brown.
That's fantastic. Lee, it's been a pleasure. Thanks ever so much, old boy.
Cheers.
Oh, geez, you have another call on the line. Hello there, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Jeffrey, and I am from Connecticut, across the ocean.
Oh, fantastic. Is that one of our American Owls over there?
Yes, I'm one of the New York Owls.
Oh, fantastic. Of course, New York Owls, the founder Patrick Jones has been on the podcast before. Jeffrey, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Jeffrey, the Wednesdays at the moment, we're not in the best of ways. What's going to fix all this?
I don't know, it's funny, I was just, at the end of last year, even though it came down to the last day of the season, again, you had, some energy, you could get excited, and then nothing happened. And I almost wonder if you can talk about how the team was in such great form at the end of last year, but it's basically the same team that went down to the last day of the season.
Absolutely, no. It was sort of a huge rocket up the bottom for the last 2 months of last season, and a lot of Wednesday fans were expecting that to carry on, and bump this, but it's really been more the opposite. I mean, do you think it's sort of the recent off-field antics with Monsieur and Medine that might have unsettled the team slightly, or do you think we're just having a bit of a bad phase of it at the moment?
Well, they're getting opportunities, they're getting leads. They need, I know it's almost cliche at this point to say it, but they need someone that can finish in the box. They need a striker. And we've been talking about this for the entire off-season and the beginning of the year, and whether it's Lita or they need someone that can just put the ball in the net, and they haven't been able to do it. And it's annoying because I think I've said this on Twitter, but if they didn't have Chris Kirkland in goal, they wouldn't have a point in the league yet. It just feels that way, like Kirkland's the only thing keeping them in these games.
And to be honest, I mean, it's not too much to ask for, just in a football match, for someone to try an actual striker that can put the bloody ball in the chuffing net, is it?
I mean, I'm an American, but I've told that's kind of the point of the game.
Absolutely, no, of course. And we do have to do that without using our hands over here as well. So, I've asked this question of one of our friends that have phoned in earlier, Lee Brown. If you were in charge at the moment, what would you be looking for? Do you think we're lacking that bit of creativity, or do you think the opportunities there? Obviously, we've mentioned getting that ball actually stuck in the goal there, but with what Dave Jones has been out in the transfer market, do you think he could have done a little bit more? Because we've seen a lot of Jones out tweets again.
I mean, it's the nature of the game. It's the one thing that I think as an American I've kind of had to adjust to. It's that, and you kind of see it in hockey, I guess, a little bit, where if you don't produce immediately, the manager's out.
Absolutely.
And that's something that's just, hey, that's the nature of the game. Everybody knows this. It's no surprise. I mean, I think even going back, I was like really, really sad when they sacked Laws, and since then it's just been like, well, that's the way it goes. But I think the one thing, we're kind of obsessed with this idea of pace between Antonio and Halan and JJ. Like, oh, we can just put them all on the field and we'll just run the team, whoever we're facing ragged, and it doesn't work that way. I know Jones isn't a big traditional 4-4-2 guy, but it seems like the team has no shape to it at any given time. People are playing out of position, or they're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. I don't know if it's sort of a get back to basics kind of thing. I think if they just had more of a spine up the middle, in the midfield and then up front, it would solve a lot of their problems, because mostly it's just, kick it to the corner and hope Halan or Antonio can get a cross in, and then hope somebody gets fouled in the box because nobody's putting it in the net.
Absolutely. No, I could not agree more there. You're absolutely spot on. And like you say, it looks like there is that a little bit something missing. There's sort of a disjointed part of the team at the moment. And it's certainly just not what we're used to seeing with that. We want that nice flowing football back that we had at the end of last season, where we just want everything to go right. Of course, it's an absolute pleasure to speak to you there, Jeffrey. And just a quick, how hard is it to follow the Owls from over there in the US?
I mean, the New York Owls helps a lot, obviously. Every time there's a game on, really any television, whether it's Sky or Ukrainian TV or even more rarely BN, we can watch it. We watch it out of the Football Factory in the city, and I have Wednesday Player. But I mean, there was certainly a fallow period, like between when I was a kid, how I got into Wednesday, which I'm amazed you did not ask that question, because that's literally the first question I always get. But they used to have a First Division recap show on TV on the local sports cable station when I was younger, and that went away, and then there really wasn't the internet as it was for a few years. But it's not too bad. I love listening to the Wednesday Player. I love it especially for the home games. The away contest can be fun, because you never know if they're going to score a goal while they're updating like a United game.
Absolutely.
Which seemed to happen a lot last year. But that's the other thing I always wonder, because I wonder how much harder it is for me to follow it over here versus over there. Like, I don't think the TV situation, like when it's on Sky over there, we can usually watch it. And
I suppose that's a very good point. Absolutely, yeah. Of course, in our new modern times, of course, we do have younger listeners, Jeffrey, that don't remember a time without the internet. When we actually used to have to write things down with good old-fashioned pen and paper. My word! But no, I suppose actually you're quite right. I suppose following from over there in the US would just be the same as for any of our Southern Owls, or maybe Owls up in Scotland, anywhere like that. It's all the same. Or even Owls in South Yorkshire that just can't get to games for any sort of reason.
No, I think that's probably true. I mean, there's nothing beats watching it on TV at 7:15 in the morning with a pint over here. But
absolutely.
Those are the only games that we get.
Absolutely. Jeffrey, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for joining us this week on the Wednesday Week. Of course, you are present over there on Twitter. If people want to check out your tweets, where can we find you over there on Twitter, old boy?
I'm on Twitter at Jeff Paternostro, because there's not enough characters for Jeffrey.
Absolutely. And of course, if you do follow Lord Hillsborough, you'll often see me retweeting Jeffrey's stuff as well. He's an absolute superstar over there. Jeffrey, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, old boy.
Thank you.
All the best. And there he goes, ladies and gents. Jeffrey from over there in the US, one of the New York Owls. What an absolutely thoroughly nice chap. Right then, so ladies and gents, before we crack on, I actually want to do a bit of a plug for a very good friend of mine, Mr. Peter Beardsley. Now, Pete, it's not the Peter Beardsley that you're thinking of. Pete's a massive Wednesdayite, and has been for decades. And as well as Wednesdayite, he's a thoroughly nice chap. Now, recently, Pete's become an author, and he's released his first book onto Amazon, onto the Amazon store over there at Kindle, and I would thoroughly advise anybody to pop over there and buy it. Pete was struck with polio at the age of 4, and the book is a story of his life and everything that he's sort of overcome, and just basically got on with life as anybody else would. The book is entitled Where There's a Will, There's a Way, by Peter Beardsley. It'll cost you the princely sum of £4.04, so I would advise anybody to go over there, get all this book. Support Pete. As I say, he's a huge Wednesday fan, has been for decades, and this is an absolutely fantastic read. So yes, pop over to Kindle, do a little search for Peter Beardsley, Where There's a Will There's a Way, and get it downloaded, get it read. All the best, Pete. Right, so let's crack on with the show and open those lines up, Jeeves, and let's see who's there now. Oh, Jeeves, another caller. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Lord Hillsborough, how you doing? It's Paddy here from New York.
It's Paddy Jones of the New York Owls. Hello, boy. How the devil are you?
I am smashing, mate. How are you?
Keep smiling, oh boy, keep smiling. We've just been speaking to another one of the New York Owls, Jeffrey, unpronounceable surname. Absolutely fantastic chap. So, Paddy, we've been having a bit of trouble with the normal chaps on. Obviously, Paddy's a seasoned professional over here at the Wednesday Week. Been on plenty of times before. So what exactly do you think's going wrong at the Wednesday at the moment, Paddy?
I think it's a number of things. I think there's obviously some problem getting funds in to get the right players in. And it's not just that as well. The players we've got should be doing better performance-wise in the last few weeks. I'm disappointed that Koki and Prutz haven't really clicked as well as they did towards the end of last season. I'm disappointed that Antonio's not really hit final gear yet, that kind of stuff. It's not happening, is it? The attitude's not there, I think. I think it's an attitude problem rather than a talent problem we've got at the moment.
No, I see exactly what you mean, old boy. I mean, I mentioned this point a little bit earlier, but do you think the off-field antics with Mr. Medine might have had a little bit of a sort of an in play? Obviously, although he might not be sort of an integral part of the playing squad recently, he seems like a bit of an active chap while he's out and about, and I should imagine he's one of those kind of chaps that on the training field sort of likes to have a laugh and a bit of the banter and all that kind of thing. Do you think that might have affected us slightly?
So it's a good point. I haven't really thought of that before. I'd like to think Medine's more of a kind of Gaza kind of character, but I don't think he is. I think he's more of a kind of... Yeah. No, you know what? I know Medine gets some stick, and I actually like Medine as a player and as a person, despite the naughtiness he's done recently. I think he's a young lad. He's obviously got his issues, but I thought he showed a lot of promise, and it's just unfortunate that he's been and going to bother with the police, of course. So I ain't condoning that at all. Honestly, I don't personally think that him not being in the squad has affected the team morale. I don't think so. I know he was good mates with McCabe. McCabe hasn't played, so you can't really say that's affected McCabe. I didn't see him having any much effect on people like Prutz and Coke and Antonio, because they seem to be the good kids, and apart from Coke maybe, Prutz and Antonio seem to be like knuckle down, get on with your job kind of stuff, rather than party people. So whereas he might have brought a little bit more fun to the training camp, I ain't using Medine as an excuse to why we're playing so poorly at the moment.
Absolutely, it has been pointed out again with the sort of the attitude at the moment. Is I mean, I love Dave Jones. He's a top chap. He seems like a nice enough gent, but he's not what you'd call enthusiastic, is he? In his interviews, he does tend to have a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Drawl. Can you imagine him really sort of firing the players up in the dressing room?
You know what, I can, because I think Dave Jones just doesn't like the media. Which is obviously apparent when you listen to any interview he does.
Absolutely.
And to be fair, when you're faced with some people in the media that you have to deal with on a regular basis, I can kind of see why. But I think it's one of those managers that's kind of like them versus us. So I think he will be able to, or he should be able to, get that kind of team atmosphere going. What you see in front of a camera, what you see in front of a microphone on Radio Sheffield isn't the real Dave Jones. That's his media-friendly face.
Friendly?
Media unfriendly face. I'm hoping that he's a bit of a bloke with the lads. So otherwise, how can you get the respect and the kind of get them to play for you if they don't think you're a decent kid or a decent bloke.
Absolutely, no, I agree. Again, that's one of the sort of points we're looking at, because it doesn't seem. It does like a little bit of a scream and shout on the touchline, and we shall see. There's a lot of people making that Jones out noise again. I'm not one of those people. I'm playing Lord Advocate this evening, but I don't know. So I've asked this question to everybody that's been on so far, Paddy. If Mr. Mandrick came to you tomorrow and said, Paddy, we need a manager to sort all this out for us. There you go. There's the job. What's the first thing you'd be looking at trying to do?
I'd get... Oh, dear. I would get central midfielder. I would get them all on a team-building weekend as well.
Painful.
Get them out on the lash together, maybe. Get them speaking to each other. And then I'd go out into the transfer market. I'd sign up... Well, they've just signed Stephen McPhail, haven't they? He's not a bad player, but he's not going to turn up any kind of holes in the league, as he told Stephen McPhail.
That's right.
But I don't know what the problem is with any striker. We've got to be some strikers out there we can afford. Young strikers, even from the Premiership, which are eager to get some games. It just seems like I don't know. One thing that really surprised me that Jones said recently is that he realised he needs to get a midfielder that can put a foot in the ball. And if he's just realised that after the last first 2 months this season, then we've got some problems, because that was the first thing we've been screaming out for since the beginning of the season, in transfer window and everything. We need a central midfielder that can break it up, put his foot in the ball, and then pass it out to someone a bit more creative.
Absolutely.
And we haven't had that for the last 2 months in this league. And what Prutton and what Coke was doing at the end of last season was exactly that. They were breaking play up, and then they're releasing it to creative players down the wings, or Coke himself was going forward and putting himself about a bit. But they haven't been doing that this time round. I think that's the most crucial thing. I'd like to see how Steve McPhail fits in. I can't remember how he played when he was playing for Cardiff. Was that long ago?
It was a while ago.
Yeah, but he's got good pedigree, so if he's still got it, fair enough. He was diagnosed with lymphoma, wasn't he, something like that?
Absolutely, no. He was away for quite some time, wasn't he, with one thing and another. I must admit, when Mr. Kirkland first came in with all his injury problems and worries, I was incredibly sceptical, and I think I've been pretty soundly proved wrong with that.
Well, maybe it works this opposite way around. You know, when we get healthy players and we ruin them.
Absolutely.
Maybe when we get really sick players, we can cure them into this wonderful thing.
Bring us your sick, bring us your dying.
Bring us your sick and unwell. We'll cure them and turn them into a top player.
So, Mr. Jones, we're looking forward to. I say we're looking forward. We're looking towards the Birmingham game as well, and they're not having a fantastic time of it as themselves at the moment. But is this something you're worried about, Birmingham? I mean, they've always been a bit of a thorn in the side, really. They're one of those teams that sort of pop up and kick us in the unfriendly parts. Where do you think it's going to go tomorrow?
I've never liked Birmingham City. It's such our club.
Never liked Birmingham as a place.
No, you might not want to go there. I mean, but apart from that, it's we never did very well against them. What they have just signed, I wasn't really that bothered about them. But I think they've just signed the Man United youngster on loan, like Jesse Lingard. Yeah,
exactly.
And he's supposed to be brilliant. So I'm a little bit more concerned than I was about 2 days ago. I think it'll be a scrappy game as we used to. I honestly can see another draw happening, which would probably might tip me over the edge suicidal otherwise. But It's not as bad a result as it was last week against Yeovil. If we do get a draw at St Andrews. But I don't know. I can't see a changed side appearing because we're playing away from home. That's another thing that annoyed me with Dave Jones' comments last week, saying that some of the players kind of freeze when playing at home.
Yes.
Most of these players have been playing at home for the last 2 or 3 years now.
Exactly.
Why can they suddenly not play there anymore? It's the same excuse that it's rolled out by our managers for the last 10 years.
Yep.
Hillsborough's intimidating. It's when we're playing badly, it's a negative atmosphere. Bullshit.
Exactly. I mean, these are professional footballers that get paid a lot of money to do what they do. So it's all well and good. So, Paddy, thank you so much for spending time to speak to us again. Of course, if you want to get hold of Monsieur de Patrico, where can we find you on Twitter, old boy?
Hi, mate. You can find us. Actually, we're appearing in the new Pete McKee fanzine, which will be out in a couple of weeks, I believe.
Fantastic!
Which I can't wait for. It was an absolute honour writing for Pete McKee's fanzine. He sent me a nice Pete McKee print as well. So thanks
really fantastic.
So we'll be appearing in there. But if you want to find us online, we're on at New York Owls on Twitter, NewYorkOwls.com, and NYSWFC on Facebook.
And we need to say as well, Paddy, they've got a range of New York Owls clothing available now, I believe.
Oh yeah, we're in Walmart, we're in Tesco's, we're everywhere.
Must admit, the one of the T-shirts we've seen on there, the one with the owl, is absolutely fantastic over the Empire State Building.
Yeah, it's like the King Owl, because it's based on King Kong. It's a big owl over the Empire State Building. It's my little brother designed it. He's a little genius.
Absolutely, spot on. Of course, do pop over there to New York Owl's website to see all the details on those. Paddy, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you ever so much for taking time to join us on the Wednesday week this week, and I'm sure we shall speak to you very soon.
Good to hear from you, mate. Have a good weekend.
Bye. Oh, fantastic. Another call. Hello there, caller. Who are you? Where are you from?
Hello there. My name's Carl Maluley. I'm from Sheffield.
Hello there, Carl. Is that Carl Maluley, as of on the internet and all the podcasts and Wednesday blogging fame?
That's right, yes. I write the Fanzone blog for Sky Sports, and I also write a blog on the We Are Going Up podcast on their blog, and I've been on their podcast before, so yeah. A little bit of experience of this, but not a great deal.
It's a pleasure to speak to you finally, old boy. Of
course, likewise.
Following you for quite some time over there on Twitter. I'm a big fan of the blog as well. Let me sound like a gushing teenager. So then, old chap, let's get down to brass tacks. The Wednesdays. We'll start with Yeovil, old chap. What do you think of that? A bit of a mess over there.
Yeah, I came away from the game really disappointed. I think there's been two games that I've come away from where I felt really disappointed. There was the Yeovil game and the Rotherham game, and I think it's the old adage, really, isn't it? Of when your opposition's down to 10 men, you expect more, and because it's Yeovil, I think the expectancy of the crowd was high, and when the team just didn't perform, and actually Yeovil, credit to them, they played some really good football. They took the game to us, and it was just disappointing that we couldn't sort of try and see a game out and finally hold on to a lead and get that 3 points that we're so desperate for.
Absolutely. And again, I mean, Yeovil have done this to us before, old boy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All in all, I mean, it was. It's one of those things because we weren't looking too bad first half. We seem to have been. I think it's the start is we've been winning every half time by the Burnley match, haven't we? And we've managed to sort of stuff it up in the second half.
Well, we can't seem to hang on to a lead at all, can we? I mean, you look at the amount of times we've been in the lead. I mean, yeah, it was a decent first half against Yeovil. I thought when we went in at half time, we were 1-0 up. They were down to 10 men. I thought, right, let's come out, let's attack them. And anybody would have thought it was the other way around. I mean, the thing for me was we had no sort of creativity at all. We brought JG on. He was quiet. He didn't really do much. And Antonio, I mean, I'm a big fan of Antonio. I think in our promotion season he was brilliant. Last year, I thought he did well last year. Obviously scored a lot of goals and made a lot of assists, but I think sometimes his overall performance wasn't to the standard I expected, and I think this year he seems to be struggling, and I think if we could get him firing and playing better, that would make a real difference to the team, but if he's struggling for confidence like the other players are, then that's a big challenge for us.
Absolutely. I've just been having a little chat with Paddy Jones from over there at the New York Owls and a few other chaps as well, and it has been mentioned, mainly by me, I must say. I've been rather ramming this point home. Not that I think it may be right, just to get your opinion. Yes. Do you think the off-field antics with Mr. Medine may have affected the team at all?
I'm unsure, actually. I mean, we had this sort of episode on Twitter, didn't we, where Mr. Medine and Michael Antonio, Reece McCabe all came off Twitter because of the abuse they received.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Medine's probably been going into the training ground in the build-up to the trial. But I think when it comes to sort of the Saturday afternoon and being on the pitch, it should be out of the mind. Medine wasn't really playing much before. He came on a few times as sub. He's not as if he's a key player for us at the moment, is he? So it shouldn't really have that much of an impact. And I'd hope that as much as the players might be sort of feeling sympathy and he's obviously their friend, I think it shouldn't really affect their performance.
No, absolutely. I mean, I apologise for the listeners. I've made this point once before this evening, but they are professional footballers. They're paid to do a job. But it's a funny old game, old boy. It's a funny old game. So, obviously, looking at what do you think's wrong with the team at the moment? Where are we going wrong? What are we missing?
Well,
it's only an hour-long show.
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, firstly, at the moment, a massive blow is losing Gardner. I think to miss him for the next 6 months or so, however long he's going to be out, I think that's a real key loss for the team. I think overall, I really think we need a creative element to the game, to the team now. We've signed Stephen McPhail. I know there's been a bit of a lukewarm reaction, to say the least, to that. But to me, from what he's performed, how he's performed previously, he's the type of player that we need. Now, whether he can sort of live up to the level he was when he was at Cardiff and they were flying high, that's yet to be seen. But let's give him a go. And I think everybody knows this. We're desperate for somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely.
I mean, it looks like Billy Sharp's heading to Reading. I've seen a little rumour on Twitter earlier. There's still rumblings about Leroy Lita. He'll put the odd message on Twitter, and you see these things. But, I mean, I'd welcome him back. I think there's a bit of a feeling that Lita's probably maybe caused a little bit of friction amongst the players. I mean, I was out in Portugal, and I think that was the message that came back. Now, whether that's a factor in it, I think you could probably tell he's a bit of a prickly character, but at the end of the day, he puts the ball in the back of the net, and that's what we're crying out for. I mean, to be fair to Nuhiu, I think he's come in and he's settled all right. He's done decent in some games, He is a big, tall lad, but he does seem to play the ball well on the ground, and I think, but he needs time to settle. He's new to the country, and he needs somebody else to share the burden of goals. I mean, I mentioned Antonio. Antonio scored a lot of goals for us last season, and you struggle to see where the goals are coming from. I mean, Maguire, when he's come on this season and played, he shows glimpses. But again, I'm not confident that he's a goal scorer, and that's what we're really lacking. But then you could say how many clubs out there are crying out for somebody who's going to score 20-plus goals a season.
Absolutely. It's that as it sounds, the entire world of football just wants someone that can stick that ball in that net, and so we can all actually have a bit of fun for a change. Again, I do take on your point, we do seem to be missing that little bit of something that someone can just give that bit of spark, that bit of creativity, which is something we've been lacking. It, and again, what Mr. Jones from New York Alistair was mentioning as well. So, looking forward, Carl, we've got Birmingham tomorrow. They've always been a bit of a bogey team. I think that one's going to go.
Well, it's Friday night, so I'm positive. Whether I feel like this tomorrow, I don't know. But I mean, you've got two struggling teams, both lacking in confidence, looking for a win. We're in a similar position in the table now. I think the key for us tomorrow is the fact that it's an away game. There'll be less of a temptation for the sort of fans, the home fans, to get on the players back, which I think is sort of positive for our players. And on the flip side of that, I think the Birmingham crowd will be expectant tomorrow. I think the away following that goes with us will probably be a bit more positive, because I don't think it's going to be a massive away attendance from what I'm hearing, unless people make a flurry tomorrow. So I'm hoping the fact that it's a away game, if we can keep it tight early on, perhaps nick a goal, and hopefully hold on this time, and try and turn their fans against them, And, I mean, the first half against Middlesbrough, we were brilliant, and then the second half, again, we were sort of struggling. And again, credit to Middlesbrough, they did play well, but if we can put in that same first half performance against Middlesbrough and keep it going, I'm confident we can get a win. I mean, a draw's not the end of the world, but
of course.
But we need a win, we're drawing too many games, and the longer that run goes on, the more the sort of tension builds, the more rumblings there are. The anti-Dave Jones brigade will start to surface out of the woodwork again.
I think they're already on the way, old chap.
Yeah, and I think people are sort of realising that we have got a lot of sort of things that are holding us back. There's this potential takeover. We are lacking quality in the squad. Let's be honest, we're lacking a lot of quality to really challenge. But you always hope that even though you haven't got the great players, look at the end we had to last season, and we had a similar squad, and we seem to be able to beat teams. So we've got to try and get that back.
Absolutely, just that little bit of spark, that little bit of flow we had at the back end of last season. It's been the point's been made with Mr. Coke and Mr. Prutton not quite gelling as well as they did, which seems to be it does seem to be a bit of a problem there. Sorry, Carl, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I suppose the difference last year is that we were fighting for our lives, and
absolutely
and the way they played suited that. Now this season, it's more we need a bit more. And there's a bit more expectancy there that we will do better, and I think that's the challenge that we face.
Absolutely, boy. And we seem to be sort of relying on the pace on the wings as well at the moment, and a little bit of that old hoofball seems to be creeping back in as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But there's a lack of balance, really, I think, throughout the team. Where if we are playing the long ball, we knew you. Although he's tall, I'm not sure how much of a target man he is. He may prove me wrong, but he's not shown so much of that, and obviously, well, we don't know what's going to happen with Madine, but he's again proven in the past he's not the target man that we need. So who knows whether we're going to look to bring that type of player in? But like I said, we need somebody who's going to score 20 plus.
It's not much to ask for, old boy. So again, I've asked the question of everybody I've spoken to this evening. Mr. Mandrick phones you up tomorrow, Carl, and he says, "Carl, we need you to get all this sorted out. Jones is out, you're in. What's the first telephone call you're going to make?"
Oh. That's a tough one, that.
I know, I keep putting people on the spot. I apologise, old boy.
Well, I could be really optimistic, couldn't? And I could phone up Jose and say, "How about Mr. Torres? You don't seem to fancy him. How about sending him to S6? I'm sure he could do us a job."
Absolutely, no. I'm sure he's shifted a shirt or two as well.
Oh yeah. In all realism, though, I think I'd try and go for Leroy Lita. Try and get the goal scorer in. And take it from there, and look. I mean, we know we've got tightened purse strings, but yeah, I think my first priority would be to get somebody in to score the goals and ask for some money for that. If we could get somebody for it to pay some wages at the moment, then that would be a bonus to it, wouldn't it?
Fantastic. Well, Carl, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
My
it's been
pleasure.
An absolute pleasure speaking to you. Of course, please do get over there. Carl, if people want to find hold of you on Twitter, where can we get hold of you over there, old boy?
I've got a short handle. It's at Mulowl, MULOWL.
And I implore everybody all Wednesday fans to listen to us. Please do go over there and follow Carl and do read those blogs because they're absolutely fantastic. Again, Carl, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. It's been an absolute pleasure, old boy.
No problem. Thank you.
All the best. Right then, ladies and gents, well, I think that'll bring an end to proceedings for this week. Of course, we'd like to thank everybody that's been on and had a little chat with me this evening. Lee, Jeffrey, Paddy and Carl, thank you very much for joining us today. Of course, if you would like your views on the show, listeners, please do get in touch with us. You can do that over there at TWWcast over there on Twitter. Of course, do email us at twwpodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, we're always over there on Facebook as well at facebook.com/The Wednesday Week. As I said earlier, please do go over there onto Kindle and Amazon and do look for Mr. Beardsley's book. That's Peter Beardsley, Where There's a Will, There's a Way. Fantastic read, and I am sure they'll enjoy it. And I say a massive Wednesday fan. Please do support his new endeavour. Of course, if you want to get hold of the usual chaps on the show, get over there at Beastie at Beastie_, Eddie at Sausage Arms over there on Twitter, and Fudge, of course, at Dan Fudge. And hilarity, I'm sure, will ensue. If you want to get hold of me over there on Twitter, of course, you can do that at Lord H. That's L0RD_H. And all the best. Thanks ever so much for joining us, ladies and gents. And we shall see you very soon.
There's a chance here.